talk a lot about changes within World War II. It's one of the things I like to do is keep you guys updated with the game and everything you might not notice, or some things that you might notice but are still relative in the sense of having to know about it. But it's not often that we end up taking a look and seeing changes outside of the game on such a scale that the community is, in a sense, affected by that even. And by outside the game, I mean at the developmental level, at the Sledgehammer Games level. Now, for those of you guys that somehow miraculously maybe missed the news on this yesterday, there was some groundbreaking news that happened within the Call of Duty community, and right out front with it, Michael Condrey and Glenn Schofield ended up leaving Sledgehammer Games to take executive positions at Activision. So aside from the fact that I'm incredibly busy on Tuesday and Thursdays with my long days at college, and I wasn't around to actually cover this yesterday, I kind of wanted to take a little bit of a step back because everybody was assuming the worst. Some people still are, and there was just a lot of crazy paranoia about it. Everybody was releasing videos on it, but I wanted to take a step back and kind of regroup and regain my focus on what we can talk about here at this. I want to give you guys the facts, give you guys some of the maybe possible outcomes, and then ultimately I want to give a little open letter at the end of this video to Sledgehammer Games in regards to the future of World War II for this upcoming year still. So just jumping right into it, let's just start out with the facts once again. Firstly, Condrey is actually doing a fantastic job as the past couple of months with communication. If you guys remember, there was probably about a month span in which we had almost a daily to maybe bi-daily and then at least once a week sort of communication with the community over on Reddit. We had a lot of stuff talking about things coming up, changes on the horizon and all that good stuff. And now we do have implemented a weekly blog in which over on Sledgehammer's website, we do have updates. That's every Friday if I'm not mistaken. But it was something that directly from the source, it was nice to see that sort of one-on-one conversational approach to the game and the environment that the studio was trying to create, and having that just all-inclusive with the players that play it. So that unfortunately went by the wayside. There was a long period of time in which there really wasn't much talked about, and even up until this point in time, there really is not all that much. Earlier in the day, there was something on the Sledgehammer actual Reddit account, not Condrey, obviously, but the Sledgehammer account posted a little bit about a hotfix that was a sticky for a couple of hours, but then that's since been pushed out, and now I don't even think on the front page, but regardless, there wasn't all that much communication. So Condrey went quiet, not only on that front, but also on Twitter, and he also took Sledgehammer Games out of his bio, which for somebody that was a founder of the studio, it's kind of weird to do, right? Well, it ended up turning out that Condrey and Schofield ended up getting promoted to executive positions within Activision, and right now it's unclear as to what those positions will be. Some people are speculating that one of them, or maybe both of them, are going to co-CEO Activision because Eric Hirschberg is leaving, or may have already left, but the parameters of that contract and when that's up, his tenure, whenever that's over, that's something in which that's still a very strange time for it to come to an end, but also these guys get promoted. So it is something that I guess logically makes sense. I don't know if that's actually going to happen or not, but that's one thing people are throwing around. Others are saying they have a direct hand in, say, Black Ops 4 and future Call of Duty titles. But that's one thing that I don't know if I necessarily subscribe to that idea, simply because there's a lot of things that Activision has a hand in, such things being Call of Duty, which of course we know of, Crash Bandicoot, Destiny, Skylanders, and other games that still get supported. So there's a lot of things that they could be working on other titles that are already released or ones that are coming up. But in terms of Black Ops 4, well, it's already nearing the end of development, or a large portion of the development. For those of you guys that know how the development works of these games, right around now is probably an early alpha build of multiplayer, and then that will progress further on. But all the basic building blocks, all the research, the campaign, the story, and the groundwork and the framework for that game is pretty much already finished. So in that sense that they're going to, say, have a direct hand on actually controlling how Black Ops 4, that theoretical title, works, I don't think that's exactly what's going to happen. I guess you could say that maybe they have a hand in how the microtransactions work in that sense, but if you take a look at it, if it's anything like World War II, sure, the loot kind of sucks in a sense, but this is probably, in my mind, the least COD point dependent COD title that we've seen since COD points were introduced. Maybe that's just me, maybe I'm just crazy, but I digress. That's another thought that people have, is they're going to be having hands-on in future titles from a more managerial standpoint. But as for the timing of this, well, this is just incredibly weird because this is in the middle of World War II's primary lifespan. And also, we haven't seen a shakeup like this since the Zampello West sort of situation that happened within Infinity Ward way back in the day. So this is really interesting as the timing here for this, but in terms of moving forward, well, now in charge of the studio is Aaron Hallan, who has been there since the founding of Sledgehammer, has been in the industry for 20 plus years, and is somebody that has been in the community already and is an able-bodied to be able to step up and take this by the reins. You guys may have seen him in some of the preview trailers and all that kind of stuff for the DLC. He's done those sit-down interviews in which he's seated right there with Condry and Schofield, so he's up there as one of those people that has been in the limelight before, but just not as much of it. But being the new studio head, he's certainly gonna be getting a lot more attention than as of 2 weeks ago. But what does this mean actually for the game and the studio moving forward? Well, in terms of the studio at a top-down approach, well, I guess we don't exactly know because we don't know who else may have left. We don't know if this is the start of something like a similar situation to the Infinity Ward shakedown years ago, or if it's just something in which the two heads got promoted to Activision and everything else goes along just how a regular day would. We don't know if that's the case or if there is a deeper rooted problem here or scenario that goes to that of a similar situation as what we've seen previously with different studios. However, as for the game itself, well, honestly, I don't think there's all that much that's going to change the course from where we're going right now. Everybody seems to assume the worst, that World War II is now officially dead because of this, that the studio founders left the game, they abandoned it, but in reality, they took a position in which for themselves it betters and furthers their career along, but also allows them to have a more hands-on approach with other titles that they may be passionate with as well. And also, from a World War II stance, that's something in which the game is completed, it's already out there, and a lot of the stuff you see in a post-launch, that's exactly what the studio has been trying to do as of recently, is communicate with the community and give them an accurate representation of the best way that they can play the game. So in that sense, it's not like anybody's giving up on the game unless the studio somehow ends up dropping out entirely and we just have this front that is Sledgehammer now. Right now, there's still able bodies working on the game, people working tirelessly that are very passionate about the game and the project, that are still wanting to give the fans the best that they can. Of course, there are limitations to how much can be done at times, but it still doesn't change the direct course of how things will go. And as I've said many, many times before, I absolutely love World War II. I am not afraid to say that in a serious manner, but I do believe sometimes these sort of situations are often a front to allow aggression in that sense of maybe say dissatisfaction to manifest. And that's totally cool if that's okay, and that's how you end up pushing out an idea, but I don't think that this necessarily is going to affect World War II in the most drastic way that people are going to think. I don't think this is going to be the sole reason a game will get boring or it will end up, air quote, dying. I don't think that's the reason. I think that this is something that is, sure, concerning in some aspects, but it doesn't really have any direct implications to a game completely tanking as of, say, next week or so. So in the area of assuming the worst, I don't think that's necessarily fair to the development team that is still on board. Having met many of the developers, they are incredibly passionate, they care about feedback, believe it or not. That's something that a lot of people just write that off, that they absolutely hate hearing what the community has to say. Everyone that I've talked to at Sledgehammer absolutely loves to hear what we have to say. It's just a matter of sometimes they can't process the sheer amounts of people giving them feedback and the voices there for it. So honestly, if you like the game, keep playing it. If you don't, well, I guess you can take a break or something, but just I don't think that it's fair to assume the absolute worst. But in terms of getting to the final thing I want to talk about, my open letter once again to Sledgehammer and maybe even to Aaron Hallan, that's something in which I just want to say that I want this game to flourish. I really do enjoy this game, and I said it from the beginning, from the launch, I probably have had the most fun actually grinding out this game since maybe Black Ops 2, and to me, that's my favorite title. Of course, your opinion may greatly differ, especially as of recently, if it's become stale to you. That's totally fine if you feel that way. We all have different opinions, and it's totally cool, but I just want to see more constant support for this game. I want to see open lines of communication, and I want to see something starting from the top down. I completely understand that speaking for a studio that has a reach of many, many millions of fans, it's something that is impossible to please everybody, and I understand that it's impossible to see and respond to every single concern, but I just want to see an open line of communication between Sledgehammer and the community still, in the sense that Michael actually ended up starting this on a very nice platform. The weekly updates on the Sledgehammer blog are a great start, yes, don't get me wrong, but hearing it from a main face at the studio, that center stage position, is something that is very reassuring to the community. While it is nice to see community-issued updates like this on a weekly basis, yes, it is something that is more so a gesture of goodwill that builds faith in the eyes of the community if there's a face to put to the message. Stay active, stay vigilant, keep adding content, keep giving updates, and I think everybody will be happy. Like I said, I want this game to flourish. I love this title, I really do. But I guess we'll see where the future takes us and what this might mean for World War II. So that's going to conclude this video. We just wanted to get some thoughts off my chest and get you guys a little bit of the thoughts and, of course, facts earlier on if you guys were interested in that. So that said, I'd love to get your thoughts and feedback down there in the comment section down below. What do you think of this sort of situation? Do you think it's good news, bad news for Sledgehammer? Do you think it's something that maybe is just completely blown out of the water and it's almost as if another day of work comes up tomorrow? Whatever it may be, let me know your thoughts down there in the comment section down below. I don't think there is any right or wrong answer, just a matter of discussion at this point, so feel free to drop it. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, make sure you drop a like down below, and of course, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding World War II, and of course, that includes things like best class setups, tips, tricks, news, information, all that good stuff. We got you covered here up on the channel, so if any of it interests you, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. Also, if you guys want to follow me over on Twitter, that's the best place to get connected with me outside of YouTube. Practically live on Twitter, so if you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, link is down there in the description below. And finally, if you guys want to follow me over on Instagram, I'm trying to get a little bit more active over there as well, so if you guys want to follow me there, that link is in the description below. But thank you guys all so much for watching. Mine is at Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care, and peace.